Joining me now, the Washington Examiner chief political correspondent, Fox News contributor Byron York. Rallies are always entertaining, but you know what? He might not be wrong.
You know, he is the most transparent campaigner in history, I think. I mean, he just came out and said, look, you got to vote for me. It was an extraordinary rally last night, huge amounts of show business. As you saw, the president loves to handicap the Democratic field. He likes the turmoil we're seeing in the Democratic field with Elizabeth Warren coming up and Bernie Sanders coming down. No accident that he did it in New Hampshire. The president is obviously focusing on the states that he'll need in the general election. He kicked off his entire re-election campaign in Florida. He was most recently in Pennsylvania. Both of those he won. He lost New Hampshire very narrowly by 2,736 votes. Really, really tight. That's a state he hopes he can pick up next time.
What about his messaging? Because, again, the message, and I'm paraphrasing, but on China, we're going to win this. It's going to be great for America. It's been great so far. The consumers aren't feeling it, although some consumer prices have gone up. Overall, consumer prices have gone up in the last couple of months. It is importers in the U.S. paying these tariffs into the Treasury Department. How they're spread across the supply chain is a different story. But nevertheless, don't worry about that. Don't worry about what's going on in the stock market. Everything is going to be gravy. How does that work?
Well, a large part of the president's speech last night was a rebuttal to all the recession talk that we've been hearing lately, and he does have a case to make for that. But the president knows very well that he is on a tightrope as far as trade is concerned, and especially with China. He said that to people. It has to work. He understands that he still has the support of farmers on this issue. We've seen a number of polls where farmers think that ultimately this is going to work out for them, and they support what the president's doing, essentially because the president did it. They felt that somebody had to stand up to China. It was not going to be easy, not going to be neat, but somebody had to do it. On the other hand, go forward a year. If there's still no China deal, there's still nothing there. I mean, this could hurt him. That's why he knows he's on a tightrope. You're on a tightrope if you can fall off it.
Right. Well, I said that it was like a couple of months ago, as long as it was the status quo, but then he announced this new tariff on the $300 billion and goes, they start going into effect September the 1st. So, again, the fight continues with China, so there doesn't seem to be like a quiet on that front at this point. I want to move on to Israel. Overnight, approving Congresswoman Rashida Tlaib's request to visit the West Bank on humanitarian grounds to visit her grandmother. This coming after the country originally barred her from entering. The Congresswoman agreeing to conditions. In a statement, she said this could be my last opportunity to see her. I respect any restrictions, and I will not promote any boycotts against Israel during my visit. Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu first banning Tlaib and Congresswoman Ilhan Omar due to their support of the anti-Israel boycott movement. Byron, what do you make of this development?
Well, first of all, the original trip that Rashida Tlaib wanted to take was billed by her office as a visit to Palestine, not to Israel. This is something the Israelis did not like to hear, and the Israelis did pass a law in 2017 allowing them to bar entry from promoters of the BDS movement. So what Rashida Tlaib did, who does have family in Israel, is that they basically allowed her to enter essentially on humanitarian grounds, and she agreed not to promote BDS while she was there. There really are two sides to this story. I mean, the people who say Israel should not be in the business of barring U.S. members of Congress from visiting, I think that's a very legitimate point. On the other hand, they did make this law because they simply do not want people to come in and promote BDS. You could really argue it both ways on this.
Yeah, BDS, boycott, divestment, and sanctions.
Yes.
And your take on the reports President Trump wants to buy Greenland. Or excuse
I
me,
have kind of
he's
a-
expressed
All
interest
right,
in buying Greenland.
It's funny. Everybody's joking. Fine, but there is a non-crazy case for this. I mean, Greenland has important geostrategic meaning for us. We have an air base up there, a very large air base, way above the Arctic Circle. It's a big part of our early warning missile defense system. In 1946, President Harry Truman actually offered to buy Greenland from Denmark, which controls it. I think the offer was $100 million. Denmark turned it down. Don't see it happening today. It's kind of an odd 19th century idea, the idea that you would just go buy something big like this. On the other hand, there are actual strategic reasons to want to do it.
And I want to move on to one more thing, because I follow you closely on Twitter, you genius. And you've been tweeting about this, Byron. New York Times chief Dean Baquet reportedly telling a town hall earlier this week that the newspaper's coverage is pivoting to alleged racism from the president after the Russia collusion story fell apart. This is according to transcripts given to Slate magazine. Byron, your thoughts on this?
Really an extraordinary story. There was basically an employee town hall on Monday at the New York Times, and Dean Baquet, the executive editor, said, look, we focused entirely on the Trump-Russia matter. For the first 2 years of the president's time in office, we, quote, built our newsroom around that story. And then came the Mueller report. And some of our readers were anguished and said that, gosh, Bob Mueller is not going to get the job done. So now we have a new vision for the next 2 years, and that is to cover racism and the president's racism and the president's supporters' racism. This is going to be our big story. It was really an extraordinarily open way to say what a number of people have actually suspected observing the Times from the outside.
And I know this is a small thing, but Dale Earnhardt Jr., he's probably one of the most well-known sports figures in the country. And his family was in a plane crash yesterday. And I went looking for any updates on that story. I couldn't find it. Scrolling through the front page of the website, I couldn't even find a mention of it. It's not on the front page today based on my first look. And again, it's like, are you a national newspaper or are you just the anti-Trump newspaper?
The Times famously did not recognize the importance of the death of Dale Earnhardt Sr., the actual, the superstar of stock car racing. The Times was criticized for not realizing what a big deal that was.
Byron, you rock. Thank you, sir. Great to see you.
Thank you, Dagan.